Many years ago, I used to take my children grocery shopping with me, which we no longer do. In the beginning, every time we needed to get something from the store, I would take my four kids into the supermarket. I would be there for at least 3 to 4 hours. The reason why it would take so long is no matter how well prepared I was, no matter how many lists I gave my children with picture diagrams and words as to what we needed to purchase in the grocery store, what aisles we needed to go down, there would be epic meltdowns. My kids would go in with noise canceling headphones, sunglasses, hats, anything to kind of block the light and the overstimulation of the noise. Nothing would work. I would end up being in a random aisle, sitting on the floor with three children trying to entertain themselves while one was having a meltdown, and I would have to rock them and sing to them and reassure them that everything is okay. On one particular trip, I am trying to comfort my child who is overstimulated by the sounds and the noise in the grocery store. A woman walked by and she told me I should take my child out to the parking lot to beat him because he had absolutely no right to act that way in a store. I kind of had this blank stare on my face, and I looked at her and I said, "Thank you for your opinion. You don't understand the situation. Please continue to go about your business." She then pointed to my toddler that was sitting in the grocery cart being entertained by my oldest child. And she said, "Do you understand that his shoes are on the wrong feet? You need to pay more attention to your children." All I could think in my head is that he has his shoes on the wrong feet because they're tighter and it's more sensory and comforting to my child. I did my best not to mouth off to her, which is all I wanted to do, and instead thanked her again for her opinion, said it was not needed, and asked her to continue about her day. My child continued to scream, and in the moment of just my most challenging day ever, I looked over to the side and there was a mother there who looked at me and just smiled. And in that instant, I had almost a light bulb moment where I realized I needed to try and distract my child from whatever he was upset about so that we can continue on about our day. I smiled at him and sang him a song in French that is very comforting to him. And I said, "Do you mind if you could just calm down for just one moment so that Mummy could move? Because there's icky gum on the floor beside me, and there's so many germs, and I don't want to sit next to it anymore. Can we move to a different spot?" He immediately snapped out of it because he's terrified of germs and forgot all about what he was upset about, and we were able to continue on with our trip. I guess my main advice that I could give to any parent out there that struggles with shopping is, what are you doing? Taking them grocery shopping with you does nothing for their development. They don't learn anything from it. It causes trauma that not only continues while you're in that store, but continues throughout the day. There are grocery stores out there where you can place your order online, drive into the lane, call them up and say you're there to pick up your groceries. They order it, they load the cart for you, and then you're off. And it takes about 5 minutes. And this advice was given to us actually by our children's aid worker. She said, don't think that you need to do all of that stuff you used to do with them. Recognize their abilities and what they are capable of, and literally just stick to that. You don't need to feel like you have to involve your kid in all of those things if it's too much, if it's too overwhelming, if you know there's going to be a meltdown that you just don't have the energy for, if it's not only going to drain your children of every bit of patience that they have in their little tiny bodies, but it's also going to drain your patience, don't bother. Find an alternative. You can order your groceries and go pick them up. You can either go out after they're asleep or send your spouse out when they're asleep, as long as obviously as there's one of you in the home. There's so many alternatives to taking your kids into a grocery store. I promise you, it's not going to hurt them to not take them, but it's going to hurt you, and it's going to create you to lose your sanity if you force yourself to do things that your children just aren't capable of doing in that moment. But I promise, if you are the mother sitting in that aisle, rocking your 8-year-old son like a baby, trying to calm him down because he is dysregulated and struggling and having such a challenging time, you are not alone. So many other mothers are doing that too. And instead of being the bossy person trying to tell another mother how to do their job, all you need to do is just look at that woman or that father and smile at them and reassure them that yes, this moment is difficult, but it is not going to last and everything is going to be okay. And they are doing a good job. You are absolutely not alone. And I am so sorry if you have ever felt like you were.